Merlin Sports.
Hey everyone, this is Fenomena from Merlin Sports, and joining me today to break down the NFC West is our resident NFL expert, DDawg. DDawg, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm here breaking down the last of the divisions in the NFL. You know, we went through all of our AFC and NFC. This is the eighth and final division we're gonna talk about. So it's gonna be exciting. Mm-hmm. And this won't be surprising for you. So we'll break it down and we'll see.
Okay, well let's dive right into it. So, how do you see the NFC West coming together, and who do you got winning it, and how many wins do you think each team is in for?
So I got the Los Angeles Rams winning this division. I'm gonna go give them a 12-5 record. I'll give San Fran also a 12-5 record. So they're gonna battle out with San Fran for the division title. I give the Rams a slight edge, and maybe they can go 13-4, but I'll give the Rams a slight edge just based on the fact that San Francisco has a lot of distractions. They've had a very topsy-turvy offseason, and they're still in the news right now. So I think that's the challenge for San Francisco. And they're coming off, you mentioned it earlier, the Super Bowl hangover. I don't see this team have a Super Bowl hangover. I mean, as long as they have Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, I think they'll be able to contend. But they did lose some key guys on the defensive line in Randy Gregory and Chase Young. I got Seattle finishing third, not because I think they're going to be a great team. I think this is a 6-11, 5-12 team, and then I got Arizona finishing fourth. I just not sold on Kyler Murray as the quarterback. I think Kyler Murray is very similar to what you talked about with Baker Mayfield and even Bryce Young, but I'll give Bryce Young a few more years. But Kyler Murray, he's had some moments, but he also hasn't been healthy, and he also hasn't really been great in other areas. So, I break them down. I think Arizona's going to finish fourth. I'll say they'll go. I said Seattle will go 5-12. I say they'll go 4-13. And that's how I kind of see it. I will say this, that Arizona, the fans in Arizona has a lot to be excited for. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. He is as good as his father as a receiver. He hasn't played in the NFL yet. He's a little bigger than his father. He's got great hands, and he makes plays. And so that's going to help a guy like Kyler Murray. But yeah, this division is tough with the top two teams. Definitely, the Rams are hurt by the fact that they lost Aaron Donald. I mean, you don't replace like an all-time great defensive lineman. You win in the trenches, and he's a great talent. But I think they'll be able to at least survive. They got some good insurance in Jimmy G, just in case something happens to Matthew Stafford. He's had his injury concerns as well. But Matthew Stafford is still one of the better quarterbacks in the league. No one talks about that guy, but he's now won a Super Bowl. Can make all the throws. He's still a very good quarterback. He can be turnover prone at times, but he's still a very good quarterback. And they also picked up in the draft one of my favorite players, Blake Corum. He's a small guy, but he packs a punch. He makes plays. He churns out yards. He's a complete back. He can catch out of the backfield. He can block. He doesn't have breakaway speed, but he does. But he can get you the tough yards, and he gets you the tough yards, as evidenced by his 18-yard touchdown run in the Rose Bowl to win the game for Michigan. So he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. But that's how I kind of see how the division breaks down. Rams first, San Francisco second, Seattle third, and Arizona fourth.
Well, interesting. I see it a little differently. I do have the Rams, with a above 500 record and threatening for a playoff spot. But I have the 49ers winning the division at 13-4. I just think, like, overall, they just have the most talent. I have Seattle finishing second at 11-6. And then the Rams finishing third at 10-7. So I have three teams like they may send potentially three teams to the playoffs, and then of course Arizona at last place with a 3-14 record. I guess we'll get Arizona out of the way. They're losing Hollywood Brown, wide receiver Rondell Moore. So yeah, they did pick up Marvin Harrison Jr. and like you said, like he's the most dynamic wide receiver in the draft. I mean, third pick overall. This will be, will be amazing for Arizona, and they probably in line for some highlight reel plays between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not sold on Kyler Murray. I think he's a good quarterback, but he improvises a lot. Doesn't always make he's a high risk, high reward, so he's kind of make a lot of risky decisions. But he should be healthy for the first time in a while, so that that bodes well for him. But just talent wise, they just do not have a lot of talent besides the aforementioned Marvin Harrison. I think they're a work in progress, and they will probably struggle in a very tough division. This could be the one of the toughest divisions. I have the Rams finishing third, but with a 10-7 record, which is what they finished with last year. My rationale is, they'll have a high octane offense, but with some of those veterans come some injury concerns, right? So Cooper Kupp, will he return to form after battling injuries the last couple of years? You did not mention the breakout star Puka Nacua from last year, who just shot out like a cannon last year and turned himself into a household name. Yeah, Blake Corum, I think, is a solid pickup in the draft. Sean McVay entering his 8th year, so he's firmly entrenched behind the wheel, calling the shots. Matthew Stafford, he returns for his 4th season with the Rams. And the question is if he's going to remain healthy. If he's going to remain healthy, they're going to knock on the door for the wild card. Aaron Donald is a big loss on defense, and their defense looks really young. So we will see how they turn out. But for me, it's like injuries. They just got a little bit bit by injuries over last year. But they're an exciting team. When they're hitting on all cylinders, like, this is a dangerous team and will give teams fits. And, I'm predicting they're going to rack up double-digit wins just based on their offense and Sean McVay as a coach. So I have a little bit surprising that Seattle above them, and I think they have a lot of weapons. I think they kind of underachieved. They started good, but they kind of fell. They kind of fell off a bit. Geno Smith, he put 2 good years in a row. So 2022, he followed up with a pretty decent 2023. So I think they feel comfortable with Geno Smith, but it's like his weapons, right? Thigpen and Lockett. So they got really good. They got really good wide receivers. They got a couple of bowling balls at running back. So Geno Smith just plays mistake free. They kind of they also cleaned house in that new first year head coach Mike Macdonald, bringing in a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and of course this is the post Pete Carroll era. They finished 9-8 last year and just missed out on the playoffs. I think they'll improve on last year, and I think they might be kind of sneaky good, just because they got some pretty good. They have skill at the skill positions. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and also Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet at running back. So I think that they will take second in this division. And then, of course, I like San Fran. I agree. I think they're too good to have that Super Bowl hangover. And they, you have Christian McCaffrey, you have Deebo Samuel. They just re-upped Brendan Ayuk and George Kittle, right? Like it's just a plethora of weapons. And Brock Purdy doesn't have to gunsling it. He just has to find his weapons, which he's done effectively, and put himself amongst the top of quarterbacks. Not flashy, nothing flashy about him, but he just knows how to run this offense. And I know they have some losses on defense, but they're still one of the best teams, even with some of their losses on defense. And I think they'll just kind of, be hungry to get back, and they just have too much talent to not, and too well coached to not have a great year this year, and they will edge out Seattle and the LA Rams to win the division. Now, which coach do you foresee on the hot seat in this division this year?
That's interesting. I mean, Mike Macdonald's probably is safe. He's then Kyle Shanahan. I mean, they went to a couple Super Bowls with him. Sean McVay's won the Super Bowl, but I think it'd be interesting to see how this season plays out with Matthew Stafford and stuff in Los Angeles. If they struggle, and even with injuries, he might be a guy on the hot seat. He might be a guy just walk away. Not necessarily he's on the hot seat. There was talk about him walking away before a couple years ago. Definitely Jonathan Gannon in Arizona is on the hot seat. They haven't had any kind of success, and they invested. They went after Kyler Murray. I know he's not his guy per se, but he's made the decision to keep him and not look for another quarterback. There's not a lot of expectations out of them, but there's an opportunity that they could. We are both picking them to kind of bring up the rear. So he's probably the closest guy on the hot seat is Jonathan Gannon.
Mm-hmm. I'd have to say the same, just because, if you have another stinker, just how many stinkers in a row can you have, even if the team isn't that all that good. And I also agree with McVay, like that. If they have a subpar season, he may just walk away. Not that he's going to get fired, because we also heard the rumors after the Super Bowl that he was there was talk of him retiring while on top of the league. So He's entering his 8th year, so at some point, you could take a break from the grind, because I know that it's a strain on your family life, and
Absolutely.
once you've achieved the highest level, and there's no higher achievement you can gain. I mean, some guys are just seem the make the call to walk away, but we shall see. Yeah. Anyways, this is going to be an interesting division, and I think 3 out of the 4 teams are going to be very competitive. And it would be interesting to see how it shakes up. So thanks for breaking down AFC West with me. And we'll talk to y'all real soon.